Last time we were talking about the Paticca Samuppada, and I hope you remember it and understand it. Today we are going to talk about how to become aware of these things and become enlightened. So I told you the way is what is called the normally called the Noble Eightfold Path, but I translate it as the Supernormal Eightfold Way. Why I call it the Supernormal Eightfold Way is because the aim is to bring the normal person to a supernormal level. Now in modern psychotherapy, what they try to do is to bring an abnormal person to a normal state. But what the Buddha has been trying to do is to bring a normal person to a supernormal state. And that supernormal state is really bringing the normal person. We must understand that the normal person, the normal human being is also an animal. That means in what we call the mind, which is really not something separate from the body, what we call the mind is an activity of the body. And there are two main activities that we refer to as the mind. One activity the Buddha called Chitta. Another activity is what is called Mano. And this Chitta is where we get all the emotions. Desire for pleasures, hatred of pain, even the thought I am, feeling of selfishness, all that comes from the Chitta. That is the animal part of the human being. All animals are self-centered, seeking pleasures and trying to avoid pain. All this is the Chitta. What is called Mano is the thinking part. The Chitta cannot think. Chitta can only feel angry or feel frightened or feel desirous of things. The Chitta is only feeling things, whereas the thinking is done by Mano. So what the Buddha was trying to do was to get the human being to rise above the animal nature and to become fully human. And this is why the Buddha spoke of giving up three things: lobha, dosa and moha. Lobha is the desire for pleasures, dosa is the hatred of pain, and moha is the thought, I am the self. So this is what we are trying to achieve, because that is the teaching of the Buddha. And the Buddha pointed out that there are three steps that we have to go through. The first step is what is called sila. When we recited the 5 precepts, that is sila. That is, we are not going to be carried away by our emotions. Even if we become angry, you don't act in the angry way. When you become frightened, you don't act in that frightened way. When you desire things, you don't act in that way. So this is the meaning of practicing the 5 precepts. So that is sila. Sila is our behavior. And the next step is learning to calm the mind. Because every emotion is a disturbance of the mind. So that disturbance has to be stopped and calm the mind. That is what is called samadhi. So we have to practice sila and then samadhi to calm the mind. And once we have calmed the mind, the next step is what is called panya or prajna is the Sanskrit form, panya is the Pali form. That means gaining insight into the realities of life. So it is only by gaining insight into the realities of life that this disturbance can be stopped. Now the problem is how? How are we able to do this? And that how is to practice the Eightfold Path. That means there are 8 steps on the path. The first step is what is called sammaditthi. Now here on this paper, I hope you have got this paper. Huh? From the bottom we go up. Huh? We don't start from the top to go down. Go from the bottom to the top. So the first is sammaditthi, which is the harmonious perspective. Now we use that word harmonious because in normal translations they use right view. We don't call it right view, we call it the harmonious perspective. We are not using the words right and wrong. Because samma, the word samma means harmony. Ditti is the perspective. Perspective means how we look at things. From what angle are we looking at things? We can look at things from different angles. So we are choosing a special angle and also bringing about harmony, because our normal way of looking at things is the wrong way of looking at things, because it is creating conflict. Because the normal chitta, which is the emotional part, is going against reality and creating a conflict. You see, reality is that everything in the world comes and goes. Everything comes into being and then it is destroyed. That is the nature of things in the world. Every person who is born ultimately grows old, falls sick and dies. That is the nature of things in the world. But our emotions don't like that. We don't want to grow old. We don't want to fall sick. We don't want to die. That means our emotions are in conflict with reality. This is the problem. So this is the problem, a conflict. And so this is a way of looking at the world which overcomes the conflict and creates harmony. That is why we call it the harmonious perspective. So we are trying to overcome the conflict. The harmonious perspective is really understanding the realities of life, anicca, dukkha and anatta. Anicca means that everything is dependent on conditions. And what is dependent on conditions is unstable. Just as a piece of ice depends on the temperature. You increase the temperature, the ice turns into water. So what is dependent on conditions is unstable. Anicca means the instability of things. And what is unstable is not as we want. And therefore, that is creating unhappiness. Dukkha means unhappiness, creating unhappiness. It is unpleasant. What is unstable is unpleasant. Dukkha. And if it is unpleasant, not behaving as we want, it is not under my power. If it is behaving in a different way, it is not under my power. Now this body begins to grow old, and that is not what I want. So it is not behaving as I want. If the body is not behaving as I want, it means it is not under my power. The body is not under my power. And if it is not under my power, it cannot be called my body. What I call mine is under my power. If it is not under my power, it is not mine. If the body is not mine, can the body be me? What is not mine cannot be me. But we normally think the body is myself. But the body cannot be myself if it is not mine and if it is not under my power. That is the meaning of anatta. Anatta means not mine. I call it the impersonality. It is impersonal. To say it is impersonal means it is not mine. So, everything is unstable, unpleasant, and impersonal. So this is the reality of life. And to understand the reality of life is very important. But it is the mano, the thinking part of our mind, that can understand reality. But the emotional part doesn't understand anything. It can only feel the desire or the hatred or the unhappiness, worries, fears. So this is why we have to gain control over our emotions and calm the mind. And that is to start practicing this Supernormal Eightfold Way. So the first step is the harmonious perspective. So once we have done the harmonious perspective, the next step is harmonious orientation. Now, what is the meaning of orientation? You see, if you are driving a vehicle and you are going north, now you are going to turn south and go in the opposite direction. We call that taking a U-turn. So you have to take a U-turn. That is the harmonious orientation. Orientation is to start turning the opposite direction. So if you have been seeking pleasures, you have to stop seeking pleasure. If you have been hating things or hating people, you have to stop hating. If you have been harming or hurting or fighting, you have to stop all that. This orientation is to turn in the opposite direction. That is the harmonious orientation. Now, once you have turned in the right direction, that is a mental turn. You have turned. But turning alone is not enough. Then you'll have to press your accelerator so that it will start moving. Huh? So then that is, you start with the harmonious speech. You begin to speak in the right way. Then the harmonious action. You begin to act in the right way. Harmonious living. You have to start living in the right way. That's the harmonious lifestyle. So you speak in the right way, act in the right way, and live in the right way. So when you begin to do that, now you are going in the opposite direction. And because you have turned in the right direction, however much you press your accelerator, you will be going only in that direction. You won't be going in another direction. So that means, that is what is called entering the stream. It's called Sotapanna. Sotapanna means it's like a log that you throw into the river. If you throw a log into the river, it will gradually go and fall into the ocean, because the river gradually flows and goes to the ocean. In the same way, if you practice it in this way, you will gradually flow into nirvana. Nirvana is that ultimate state, free from all suffering, free from all unhappiness, free from all worries, anxieties, and disturbances. So the most important thing is turning in the right direction. So that is the first part of this. But once you have fallen into the stream in the right way, where it is true that you will be gradually floating in the right direction, but still you have to start swimming. Not only just being there, lying down, you have to start swimming. And that is the harmonious exercise. The harmonious exercise where you begin to start swimming. in that direction. Now this harmonious exercise has 4 parts to it. 4 parts. They are called Sanvara, Pahana, Bhavana and Anurakkhana. We are going from the bottom to the top. Sanvara means, you see, it's a very important thing we have to understand. Now, what we are trying to do is to stop the emotional reaction. We are emotionally reacting to what we see, what we hear, what we smell, what we taste, what we touch. This is the problem. So we have to stop this. Now, how can we stop that? The first step is when we see something, don't keep looking at that thing and start thinking about it. If you see something beautiful, don't start thinking about how beautiful it is. If you see something ugly, don't keep on thinking how ugly that is. In the same way, when you hear something, you don't think about how pleasant what you hear is. When you hear something unpleasant, you don't think about how unpleasant it is. If you begin to think about it, you begin to react emotionally to it. That is called guarding the senses. You are guarding the senses, guarding the eye, guarding the ear, guarding the nose, guarding the tongue, and guarding the sense of touch, the body, feeling in the body. Not to be thinking about the pleasant and the unpleasant. That's the first step. Then the second step is, if any reaction occurs, that means if a desire or a hatred comes up, you have to throw it out immediately. That is the second step. First you stop thinking about what you see, hear, smell. The second is, if any reaction occurs, you have to stop that. That's the second step. Then the third step is what is called cultivation. What is cultivation? That cultivation is to keep looking inside instead of outside. It is only when we look outside that we begin to focus on what we see or hear or smell or taste or touch. So instead of thinking of the outside, we begin to think about what is going on inside. what is happening to my body. Now, if we begin to react, the body begins to shake. And the second step is to become aware of how the body feels. Are you feeling comfortable or are you feeling uncomfortable? How the body feels. Then the next step is becoming aware of the emotion that has been aroused. If any emotion is aroused, you have to become aware of that. That is also going on inside, not outside. Become aware of the emotion. Then the fourth one is to become aware of the thought that came to the mind. If any thought came to the mind, we have to become aware of that. So constantly watching what is going on inside, what is happening to the body, how is the body feeling, comfortable or uncomfortable, what is the emotional state, is it a desire or anger or fear or worry or whatever is going on emotionally. And then the thoughts that arise in the mind. So to become aware of these four things, that is what is called satipatthana, usually translated as mindfulness. But I don't call it mindfulness. That is not mindfulness, that is what is called introspection. Looking within, looking at what is going on inside you. It's called introspection. So this practice of introspection is not only just 1 minute or 2 minutes or even 3 minutes or even 1 hour or 2 hours or 3 hours. It has to be done 24 hours a day, all the time. Our mind should be kept inside, not outside. Now that is the real satipatthana, which is not mindfulness, that is mind emptiness. You are emptying the mind. And it is really introspection, looking within, not looking outside. Because if you begin to look outside, you will be reacting. Here we are trying to stop reacting emotionally. So we have to be looking inside all the time. And if you do that properly, the next step is Samma Vayama, harmonious exercise, turns into harmonious attention. The harmonious attention is the Samma Sati. Now, if we practice this Samma Sati in the proper way, what happens? If it is done in the proper way, Samma Sati becomes the first step in the 7 steps to awakening. You begin to go through the process called awakening. You are awakening from the dream of existence. You think you are existing. That is a dream. You are dreaming that you are existing. But really you are not existing at all. You are only thinking you are existing. This is why the Buddha is a person who has awakened from the dream of existence. So it's very important to understand that what we spoke of last time was the Paticca Samuppada, which is an explanation of how your mind automatically creates the idea of existence. You are becoming aware of existing world outside and the existence of a self inside. You are thinking, I exist here in this world with so many people around. And then you begin to form relationships with all these people, and as a result, you begin to fight and quarrel and begin to experience all the problems of life through self-centered thinking. It is only by properly practicing this way that you are able to gain freedom from this suffering. Now it's very important to understand this properly. I think this explaining the 7 steps to awakening we can leave for the next time. So we have almost reached the end of our time. So you can ask questions now about this meditation. This, what we call meditation, is simply what we just described. And if you have any doubts or anything that was not very clear, You can ask now.
Bhante, you mentioned that the mind is a function of chitta and mano.
Yeah.
So in terms of the khandas, the chitta is the vedana.
Huh?
So in terms of the khandas, the four khandas, the mind khandas,
Yeah.
vedana is the chitta, is it?
No. Now you sit down, I will explain. So when you begin to listen to what I am saying, there are so many other branches of what I am saying. You can't just get hold of one branch and understand the whole thing. What are called the khandas has nothing to do with this. We'll be talking about the khandas more fully maybe in the next talk. But just because you asked this question, I have to tell you that this was explained last time, I think. What we call khanda is not just aggregates. Today it is translated as simply aggregates. It's not just aggregates. Khanda is analysis of the process of perception. Now, when I look at this cup, I am looking at the cup. But what is the meaning of looking? That is what is important to understand. The process of perception is the process called looking. You see, looking is not simply turning your eye towards the cup. That is not the looking. The process of seeing the cup has been analyzed into 5 parts. First thing is to understand that what we call the eye is like a camera. The eye works like a camera. When you take a picture with the camera, what you take is a picture. And that picture is what is called rupa. The word rupa means picture. Now, when we talk about the 5 aggregates, or the 5 khandas, first thing is rupa. Rupa means the picture. So when I look at the cup, I see a picture. Where is the picture? The picture, when you take a picture with the camera, where is the picture going to be? The picture is inside the camera. But I think the cup is here. But the actual fact is the cup is here inside, not there. So that it is simply a picture that you see, and the picture is here and not there. And that is only what I see is a picture, but how did the picture come into being? When I open my eyes and see, you have to understand that how you see is, today the scientists have understood that it is a ray of light that comes and falls into the eye. And this ray of light has a frequency. And in the eye, there is at the back of the eyeball, there is what is called the retina. And in the retina, there are nerve endings. And there are several nerve endings which receive only one frequency of light. And there are seven kinds of nerve endings that receive seven frequencies. And those seven frequencies are violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange, red. So in other words, what you see is only color. So when you open your eyes, what you see is only color. And the color, some colors look beautiful, some colors look ugly. So the pleasantness and the unpleasantness is what is called Vedana. Vedana is the feeling, how you feel. And the word Sanya means the color. So you have the color. What? So the Vedana and the Sanya, the color, and how you feel the color. So what you see is colors, and whether it is pleasant or unpleasant or neutral. So the Rupa means you are creating a picture using the colors. So when you look at a picture, the picture is made of colors, and you are creating the picture by putting the colors together. And once you have formed the picture in this way, another thing happens. You have to identify the picture. You might say, this is a face. That is identifying the picture. Or when I look at this, I say, this is a cup. So when we identify, we put a name to it. This is a cup. Cup is a name. This is a bottle. Bottle is a name. So you see, the color and how it feels, Vedana and the Sanya. And the Rupa is the picture. And the picture is created or constructed by putting the colors together. And that construction is what is called Sankhara. So you have to learn these Pali words, then only you begin to understand this. And then the word Vijnana means recognizing the picture. So when we recognize the picture, we have a picture and we put a name to it, Nama and Rupa. Nama is the name, Rupa is the picture. So when we talk about the 5 aggregates, that meaning doesn't come. So instead of saying 5 aggregates, I call it the 5 constituents of the process of perception. The 5 constituents of the process of perception. I don't call it 5 aggregates. It doesn't convey the meaning. So what we call the Pancha Khanda is really the 5 constituents of the process of perception. Now you understand, huh?
But to them, the traditional way, Nama Rupa is what they call a man or attain something.
Yeah, this is.
So that's the problem.
This is, I don't call it the tradition, that is not the tradition. This is simply the translation given by the translators. It's not a tradition. So this was first translated by Rice Davids. He was the first translator, and there is a big dictionary that gives the meaning of all these words that they have been using. But the important thing is, it was very difficult for a Westerner like Englishman or even German to understand these words, Pali and Sanskrit, because that language is very different from this. But for us it is easier because our language, which is Sinhalese, is very close to Pali and Sanskrit, because we have words that are common to both languages. So it's easy to understand. So this is why when we begin to understand what we are talking about, we have to translate in a different way to bring the meaning out. So any other questions you have?
Previous class questions.
Yeah?
Can I use the whiteboard?
You want to write something?
I just want to draw something.
Uh-huh.
Okay. There is a fire, a candle fire. So I can use the candle fire to represent Mano, Chitta, body, and the world we perceive. So they are world we perceive. That means the world we perceive.
Body,
Mano, Chitta, body, and the world we perceive. So they exist due to the necessary condition. Am I right?
No. Why do you combine those things?
No, just
What is it?
for simplifying my these questions.
Huh?
Just want to simplify my question, so that's why I use this frame to represent Mano, Chitta, body, and the world we perceive.
What is the connection between those words you are using?
Yeah, doesn't matter. Maybe I just
Huh?
take off this. Okay. So all this Mano, Chitta, body, they exist due to the necessary condition. Am I right?
What? Necessary condition?
The Mano, Chitta, body, they exist due to the necessary condition. Can I say that?
No. That there is no real connection there.
Yes, I know.
Mano and chitta
Maybe three flame. I use three flame.
are activities of the body.
Yes. So now is my question is if let's say this is the past life and now this is a present life, and this is a future life. Okay. So if let's say this past life, the condition is finished, so all this flame just put off. So we don't know where it goes. It will just extinct like that. So now is this present life. So why this past life when this person accumulated this bad karma, it can affect this present life, this body, mano, and chitta. And how this karma can be retained, and at where it retained actually.
I think you are looking at this whole thing in the wrong way.
Okay.
You see,
Because you read the Buddha scripture, you will mention that is Buddha can look at these are many life, the karmic energy created by the person. So you say, okay, past life, because you created this bad karma, that's why this present life you have to suffer. So maybe you born in hell. So if let's say in past life you create this good karma, in the future you may, in this life you create a good karma, in the future you born in the heaven.
you see, past life and future life and all that, you are talking about your picture that you are drawing is like a flame.
Yes.
So if it is a flame,
So that
you
means
have to understand that if you have a cigarette in your mouth and you take a matchstick and the matchstick gets a flame and you hold it near the cigarette, then the cigarette gets lighted.
okay.
So rebirth is a thing like that.
Bhante, can you speak into the microphone? Can you speak into the microphone so all can hear?
So it's a thing like that.
So my question is how this karmic energy being retained, at where it retained?
No. You are using the wrong words. Those are things as karmic energy.
Now how come in this Buddha's story mentioned, okay, a lot of his disciples, he mentioned, oh, in the previous life, because we have create this good karma, we born in this heaven. Or because you create a bad karma, you born into hell, all these things. You have to suffer all this.
You see, the first thing is to understand that the flame, what is a flame?
Flame,
Huh?
I would say that is keep on changing. If let's say you zoom into the...
Flame is an activity.
Yes, it's keep on changing. Am I right?
You have to understand the difference between an activity and an entity. An entity is different from an activity. You see, now my hand is an entity. If the hand shakes like that, that is an activity. So, if I shake my hand and my hand shaking starts a different shaking here, the paper begins to shake.
Okay.
So that means my hand shaking has started another shaking here, shaking off. That is the meaning of rebirth. The rebirth is this activity here starts another activity here. Rebirth is a thing like that. Nothing goes from here to the other place.
Yeah, this one I understand, but problem is I still got some doubt is where does this karmic energy created by the person?
What is energy? Energy is not an entity. Energy is an activity.
Now how come we can retain for so many life cycle?
Yeah. One activity leads to, if you have a row of marbles, you hit the first marble, that marble will strike the second marble, and the second marble will strike the third marble, and so the activity goes on. But nothing is going from here to the other place.
Okay.
So we have to understand that we are talking about activities and not about entities. It's very difficult to understand it till you have thought about it properly. Now, if you don't think about it in the proper way, then you don't understand it.
All right. Thank you, Bhante.
Okay.
Bhante, I have two questions. The first question is a continuation of the brother. So it means that, Bhante, we cultivate relaxation of body, calm the mind, we still the mind. We cultivate the relaxation of body, calm the mind, and still the mind. So the meaning is that I'm trying to say that when we still the mind, we're trying to stop the activities of the body. Right?
Yeah.
So if we are able to stop the activity of bodies at the time we pass away, then there will be no energy going to the next rebirth.
Yeah.
So this is the aim of our practice.
Yeah.
Thank you. Second question, Bhante. Your previous class, Bhante said that there are there are four types of food. Or there are four types of food.
Yeah.
For the beings to sustain themselves. First is the food, the physical food that we eat. Second is the pasa. Next is the vijnana, and the third is the mano sanchitta. So my question to Bhante is that these four types of food is also the food for Arahant? Thank you, Bhante.
No. What is the last question you said?
Are these four types of food that normal people use it for maintenance, also the types of food for Arahant?
Oh, yeah.
But how can Arahant have this type of, especially the chitta? Chitta is emotion. Arahant has no more emotion.
Well, the chitta is
Speak
not
into the
there in
microphone,
the
Bhante.
Arahant.
Bhante, speak in here. The microphone is here. Turn on. Turn to the microphone.
Well, the chitta is not in the Arahant. The Arahants, it is the chitta that starts this rebirth and all kinds of things.
So it means that in summary, Arahants have only the food of the physical food plus the vinyan, pasa,
Arahants,
mano.
the food is gone.
Then what are foods for Arahant to sustain their life here?
Arahant takes food to sustain the life of the body. Not the, you see, Arahant has the body, but he doesn't think of the body as myself.
So it means that Arahant has the food, the physical food, and they do have. He also have pasa,
Yeah.
vijnana, and mano,
All those things are there.
except chitta.
No, chitta means the emotions are not there. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Bhante.
Yeah.
Bhante, sorry, back to the first question.
Huh?
Back to the first question. In the previous sutta, Bhante said, the sutta says that there are three conditions for beings to take rebirth. One is the unions of mother and father in the right season. Second is that another reason.
What?
Another second reason I've forgotten. But the third one is that there must be an agent ready to take rebirth. Is it the agent or the Gandhabba? The Gandhabba in
Gandhabba is the agent.
Is the Gandhabba referring to the continuity activities of the body that take rebirth of that?
What?
Is the Gandhabba referring to the activities of the body or the mind that cause it to take?
Yeah.
Okay, understand. Thank you, Bhante.
Okay.
Can I just continue with what she asked about the Arahant? So does it mean, see, when they're talking about nutriment, when then Arahant, an Arahant only experience a situation that he's no more, he doesn't construct anything more. That means there is no construction of existence, nothing to construct. So he has no conceptualization of anything, but just an experience.
No. The important thing is the emotions are not there.
And he doesn't construct any more. He doesn't create what I mean, Bhante. There's no
he's
Vitakka
creating all
Vichara
the
is
time.
no more. There's no Vitakka Vichara for an Arahant. He has stopped creating. He only
Vitakka
experiences.
Vichara.
It's gone for an Arahant. It's gone.
No. The Vitakka Vichara is there.
For Arahant,
Yeah.
at fourth jhana,
Huh?
at fourth
That
jhana.
is in the jhana. But the important thing is that in the first jhana, the Vitakka Vichara is there, no? So the Arahant will be almost like being in the first jhana all the time. The Arahant doesn't come out of the first jhana. To come out of the first jhana is to have all the 5 hindrances. The Arahant doesn't have the 5 hindrances. That is why the mind is purified.
But neither the Arahant construct any more, because Vitakka Vichara is gone at the second jhana.
No. That is in the second jhana. But in the first jhana, Vitakka Vichara is there.
Yes, but he has gone beyond the first jhana.
No. He says not gone beyond the first jhana.
Arahant?
No.
Bhante,
Yeah?
I'd like to get your clarification. I think what sister asked is actually in the Mula Paryaya Sutta.
Mula Paryaya Sutta. Yeah?
That's right. And the chitta is there, but the Arahant does not react to how you react. The Arahant just has a...
Reaction is the chitta.
Yes. The Arahant, if he gets his finger cut, he doesn't run to the hospital.
Huh?
The chitta is not a reaction. It is just an intellectual observation. Okay, my finger is gone. The finger does not belong to me. It is not mine. It's not mine to be personalized. And whatever jhana which an Arahant is in is only a state of mind. It is temporary. It is not permanent. He can toggle between being in a state of jhana and come out and answer your question. like what the Buddha does. Sometimes people ask him questions.
No, that is when you are in the first jhana,
Yeah.
you can talk.
Agreed, Bhante. So the Buddha could toggle between a jhana state with complete bliss and could come out and have a relationship to anybody who asked him a question.
Yeah.
I think that's where your point needed clarification. Thank you, Bhante.
Bhante, I'd just like to clarify one thing, right? Is that I think we should not, correct me if I'm wrong, is that we should not relate the jhanas to the attainment of, let's say, for instance, the arahants and all that. Because the jhanas itself is just a process where for them to realize that there is no self, right? The moment that they have removed self means there's no chitta, which is actually the emotional reaction, right? So in other words, through the jhanas, they still have, like the first jhana, you have the vitaka, vichara, and all these things. They still construct. Their mind still constructs the concepts. It's just that there is no emotional reaction. Correct me if I'm wrong, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So coming back to this as well, the different rebirths, right? It's just when we reach arahanthood, we don't create the next life. That's all.
Yeah.
Correct. So in other words, due to the activity of the what we call the chitta, which is the emotional reaction, we create karma, right? And then that creates the next life. But that doesn't mean that it is your life, right? It doesn't mean that you continue to live. It's just that you create the next life, that's all. It's just like when you strike a match, you light a paper, the paper burns. That you cause the paper to burn, that's all. Right? Thank you. Thank you, Bhante.
Okay.
Bhante, I want to clarify one more point regarding this absence of chitta. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's more correct to say the chitta is there, but it doesn't react because the chitta has reached a state where it is unified with the mano. The two minds have become one.
That's right. Chitta
is still present.
Chitta is there. The thing is that chitta can remain in two ways.
Mm-hmm.
Agitated or calm.
That's right.
So chitta is in a calm state.
Always in the calm state.
Always in the
and
calm
this is,
state.
Is it correct to say then that is the state where it is considered as unified with mano? Which is described as ekagata.
Unified with mano.
Yeah.
That's right.
And that is actually a state of samadhi.
It's a kind of samadhi.
Yeah, that's right. The unified. So in other words, the chitta is there, just that it is now in a pacified state.
Yeah, that's right.
No, okay, I think, so that clarifies. Thank you.
The important thing is in the chitta we have to use a word like mood. The mood or temperament. The mood or temperament can be in an agitated state or it can be in a calm state. In the Arahant it is always in the calm state, not in the agitated state. That's why there is no emotional.
The Pancha Nivaranas are gone.
The Pancha Nivarana is gone, yeah. So Pancha Nivarana is the agitation.
That's why
Yeah.
said that the Arahant is always in a state of jhana. That's why the Arahants are always in a state of jhana.
Yeah. I think the Arahant is at least in the first jhana. All the time, yeah.
Like in the In the Mahaparinibbana Sutta, before the Buddha prepares for his parinibbana, he goes from
Yeah.
in the Mahaparinibbana Sutta, to prepare for the parinibbana, the Buddha comes from the normal state of mind to the first jhana, then comes out from the
Yeah,
first jhana,
yeah.
goes back into the first jhana, and then goes to the second jhana, comes out from the second jhana.
Yeah.
So, the Buddha does not stay in the first jhana, right?
Huh? Buddha does not?
The Buddha does not stay in the first jhana, right? Because in the
usually the Arahant and Buddhas always at least in the first jhana.
okay.
Because if you come out of the first jhana,
That's preparing to pass away.
huh?
Yeah, they move to other jhanas, yes.
But I don't know. I
No,
think the
that-
sutta says it comes
you are-
out from the first jhana and then goes into the.
No, that is before he passed away, he was going from one jhana to another. That is when he was passing away. Yeah.
Because once you eliminated the five hindrances, you're always in jhana. It's just a which jhana.
Greetings, Bhante. I just want to ask one question. Is it necessary to go through the jhana process to be enlightened? I just want to clarify this. Certain school, they say no need jhana, so I just want to clarify this.
No, at
Thank you.
least the first jhana is needed to get into the real arahantship.
Bhante, so what do you mean?
Huh?
What do they mean by dry? What do they mean by dry insight then?
What?
They use the word dry insight.
Chai?
Dry, D-R-Y, dry insight. That means without the jhanas.
Try insight.
Dry.
Ah, that is
D-R-Y.
that is this not the Buddha's words. You are using these these Dhammapada things. Those are not real Buddha's words.
So, is it possible?
Huh?
So, is it possible to be awakened without jhanas then, in your
No,
your
you
opinion?
cannot.
No. Huh?
Yeah. Jhana is necessary.
Thank you, Bhante.
But they always say that Nibbana is unconditioned. But
Yeah.
it sounds like Nibbana is conditioned on the first jhana.
No, unconditioned doesn't mean that you don't need jhanas. That is not the meaning of unconditioned. Nirvana, once you attain nirvana, nirvana itself is an unconditioned state, means it is not based on conditions. But to enter nirvana, you have to go through the Noble Eightfold Path. You can say the Noble Eightfold Path is a condition to nirvana. But nirvana itself is not a conditioned state. That is the meaning. You can't just go enter nirvana without anything. That is not correct.
So, Bhante,
Huh?
can you say Nibbana is at existential thinking then? He has changed from existential thinking to experiential thinking. That
Yeah.
is the
That
Nibbanic
is
state.
what it is.
What's your question?
That, huh?
That means he has gone to an experiential state.
No, that is a different thing that we are talking about the paradigm shift. You're talking about the paradigm shift. It's a different way of thinking. There are two ways of thinking. To think in terms of existence, in terms of existence. That is existential thinking. That means if you think I am existing here, you are existing there, that kind of thinking is existential thinking. But the thinking in nirvana is the experiential thinking.
Samsaric and Nibbanic.
Huh?
So Samsaric and Nibbanic Buddhism.
Well,
Thinking in terms of existence is
no.
samsaric.
Then if you are trying to mix things in the wrong way. If you begin to mix it like that, then you get into wrong thinking. So anyway, I think we have come to the end of our time. Huh?
Next class.
So next time we get into the 7 steps to awakening.
If you all have questions, we can now talk about it. Hang on. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Venerable. It's
Okay.
I think a little bit, maybe not a little bit not so loud, but we can still hear you.
Wait a minute. Let me start this. I like that tree. Like that.
It's not real. It's just a background, but yeah.
But it's a real tree.
Yeah.
Anyway. So, does anyone have any question? How did you all find the talk? Stefan is there, no?
He's here. Venerable.
How did you find it?
My name is Randy. Probably I had met you. I listened to Bhante Punnaji number of times, Yeah. I got a question not really related to what he was saying. But what about it's about metta, the practice of metta.
Okay.
Yeah. Now there are different ways of practicing metta. The way that I practice is you start with metta to yourself and to your what's called the benefactors, people who you look upon to, like spiritual leaders, and then to a friend, and then to a neutral person, and then to a person whom you don't like, and then you extend metta to the area that you, maybe the suburb that you live, and then you expand that to the whole, if you're living in Victoria, to the state and to Australia. Now, I've been So that's the way that I have been practicing. But at the same time, I listened to another way of practicing where you don't do that. You just extend the metta to the front, to the left, to the right, to the left, without mentioning those individuals. So it doesn't matter, does it, how you do it, or there's no...
It matters. It depends on what you're trying to achieve, what you're trying to do. So by developing metta, what is your goal?
The goal is an altruistic goal. In other words, to extend my loving kindness to everyone. So that everyone will be happy, no harm comes to them, and they'll be...
Well, this is, let me put it this way. Why we do all these things is because we are interested in relieving our suffering and want to live comfortably. That is our main goal. The purpose of a human being or any being is the quest is to live comfortably, peacefully, and happily, right? But in the pursuit of this peace and happiness in our life, what happens in the pursuit of this, whatever we do to get to that, to find the comfort, peace, and the happiness, we seem to do things that stresses us. So we have ended up being stressed. So now our biggest problem is, not like even the suffering that we had before. We have enormous suffering, lot of stress, to the level that now we are recording the highest cases of suicides. We never had suicide rate, skyrocketing like this. And the highest cause of death is suicide. That it is an indicator that people are very uncomfortable, very unhappy. Stress means discomfort and unhappiness. So we've been searching for happiness. We have developed all these technologies and all these things, wanting to find happiness, but we have ended up in a bogged down in stress. So then Buddha comes along and shows us the way to be free from stress, how to be free from stress, how to live a stress-free life, how to be free from suffering. Then our interest is now how to live a stress-free life, how to live without suffering. Then Buddha is pointing out it is your selfishness, selfish nature, self-centeredness, this sense of self brings the suffering mainly. Why? If we show it physiologically, every time when we have the sense of self and you produce unwholesome thoughts here, the body goes into the limbic system gets activated and it goes into the fight or flight reaction, and then the stress comes along. That stress is necessary for survival, but if we are all the time practicing the anger and the hatred and jealousy and cruelty and fear and anxiety and worries and for anything and everything, while inside the house, in the traffic, on the road, and in the office, everywhere, we always keep on churning these unwholesome thoughts. We ended up activating this stress cycle all the time. So we end up physically and mentally being so stressed to the level we are so unhappy and enough with it, interested in even taking their own life. So that's how it goes. So then Buddha comes along and shows us this is the cause by, developing this sense of self. More you develop, more the ego, more suffering will come. So he says, look into what is this ego, look into what is this sense of self, look into what is this mama, and investigate the I, me, myself. So he gives us a lot of exercises to do to figure out who is this I, me, myself. So in this, the path to do it is the Noble Eightfold Path. So when we do that, when we develop our wisdom, we start to see, yes, there is a body. In the body, there is senses. Senses get stimulated. We start to see, hear, smell, taste, touch, and think. And this is how we create our world. And that's all what is there. But we somehow, when we don't see this activity for the activity, we have created unconsciously I and the world, the subject and the object in this reaction. The subject is I, the one who is experiencing becomes I, me, myself. This body becomes me and myself. And we alienate the object that is out there. So, Buddha pointed out, if you want to really be free from this idea of I, me, myself, and so if you can be free from that, the body won't go in the fight or flight reaction. So to getting enlightenment, awakening means awaken to who you are, to find out you were never born anyway, you are not going to die anyway, because our biggest fear is the death. This is when this system goes into this heavy reaction to the fight or flight reaction. And we suffer a lot with even the anxiety attacks now, similar to heart attacks. So it's not an easy thing for us to handle that, to think even, I might die tomorrow. So we are afraid of the death. So as long as there is a self, there is death. So you can't escape this fear of death. Why we run to the doctor all the time? Why we go and eat when we get hungry? Why we try to avoid accidents? Because we don't want to die. It's just judging the death. But we can't prevent it. One day it will happen. So we know that. Because we know that underlying, we have a high stress. So only if you realize who you are, there is no self to be found, but there is a body, there is the senses, there is this chemical reactions. From this, that we experience the world, and to that experience, we create the thoughts. Depending on the quality of the thought, the emotions come. If we start to see this, that is why we need the Satipatthana to realize this. When you do that, you realize the true truth about the I, me, myself. Then you become free from that, and we don't deny there is a body. The body is there, but body is not I, me, myself, even though we have taken it as I. If I ask you, where are you? Here I am. You put your hand, the hand in the body you put up. Here I am. So, now that is through the realization. Realizing the anicca dukkha anatta, you will come to the conclusion, oh yes, there is a body, but there is no one in there. There is no soul in there. There is no body in there. Body means a person in there doing things. They are just, when they get stimulated, the chemical actions going on, reactions. That's all. So we say then you awaken to the truth. But until that, our limbic system will always take care of us, because the responsibility of it is the self-survival, to look after the self. If there is any threat, prepare you to face that. So as long as we live with this ignorance, that not knowing what's going on, and we have this sense of I and me and myself, we are under the gene control. The gene has this, for the self-survival, the fight or flight reaction is there. When it gets activated, That's when the stress comes, because anger, fear, all these emotions stresses your muscles, stresses the heart, it stresses all the organs, it puts pressure on every cell in your body. And that pressure is felt in the brain as well. These chemicals will go into the brain as well. And the mood will be changed, and then havoc. We don't like it. So, but we can't be free from this until we dissolve this sense of I. So, how to eradicate it is by realizing the nature of the things. The seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching. Ditte ditta mattam bhavishyati. So there is no one that is seeing. There is only seeing in the seeing. Only the seeing in the seeing. Only the hearing in the hearing. Only the smelling in the smelling. Only the tasting in the tasting. Only the touching in that. So it's only about the past experience. So when you realize that, we say you get enlightened. Enlightened means after that you bypass that limbic system. You don't have the fight or flight reaction. So arahats don't get emotional at all. There is no 5 hindrances. No emotion at all. No anger, no jealousy, no hatred, no fear, no anxiety, worries, depression, nothing. So they are totally at rest now, at peace. Now, there is another way to trick the system. That is a temporary way. Until you get fully awakened, you can shift your thinking from this self-centered thinking to a selfless thinking. The minute you shift your thinking from selfish, self-centered thinking, I, me, myself, I want this, I want that, I, you even select a simple thought like may all beings. Instead of I, you broaden it to including everyone, all beings. Then the messages that carries these thoughts into the system changes from the limbic system, the sympathetic, to the parasympathetic. It is the sympathetic that brings us the stress. The parasympathetic relaxes us. It's totally wired in a different way. So, when the message goes to the brain without a sense of self, the pineal gland secretes hormones that relaxes us, the body, the mind. So we are so relaxed, we are so calm and peaceful. But this is temporary. Only until you practice this type of thoughts, keeping away the I and the me and the myself and my people, and you shift your thinking from selfish to selfless, which is selfless means all beings. When you do that, we feel very comfortable, peaceful, and happy. So it de-stresses us. This is one of the quick fixes to de-stress, to find quick relaxation, to find quick comfort and peace of mind and happiness. But you need to do this genuinely. You need to bring that feeling in your heart, the same way as I value my life, the same way as I don't like to suffer. No one likes to suffer. No one likes to suffer. Everyone likes to live comfortably and happily. So like a mother that is always thinking about if she only has one son, all the time the focus is about the son. We want them to be safe. We want all the good things to happen, avoid all the evil things, and only the success. He should face only the success. So that is how a mother's heart. Buddha is saying, Mata yata nyam putta ayusa eka putta manurakke. Mother even can give her life to protect the son if needed, to bring him comfort, safety, and peace and happiness. The same way, mana sambhave aparimana. Tancha sabba lokasmi mana sambhave aparimana. Extend that feeling, that caringness that love, that kindness, that compassion, that deep felt feeling in the heart, that unconditional loving kindness, we call it metta, that has no expectation, no lust. It's not a business, but it's a genuine feeling of about the welfare and well-being of the other person, that you want to see fully they being well, physically, mentally, in all aspects. That wish expanded for all beings is called the metta. If you're doing it for me and my family, that is not metta. That is still restricted within that selfish boundary. Me and my family, me and my people, me and my. No, it's not going to shift your thinking from self-centered to the parasympathetic. So the way to do is, this is why you need to understand why you're doing this. We are tricking ourselves so instantly we can relax and feel calm and happy. And we are relaxed and calm and happy, you genuinely will have interest on others' welfare and well-being, because you're feeling peaceful and happy, so you can be available for others. When we are stressed, we want the whole world to come and help us. I'm miserable, I'm unhappy, please help me, help me, help me, help me. If they don't, I get so angry. So this is why the stressed people are very snappy. You can't work with them. Very difficult. The slightest thing will make them so angry and upset. But if someone is comfortable, peaceful, and happy, it's like a buffer. They can bear a lot of things. They can be patient. They can absorb things. They can just watch things. Someone can hit them on this face. They can watch and think, why did they do that? Without reacting. They can have that space and act rationally and logically, respond to them. Not just reacting like, like a Bowser roll gahalatin highly flammable killer. Today people are highly flammable. You can't go near them. You can't say a word. You can't look at some. Just they will explode. So why? They are always living in this stress. So it's very important for us to de-stress. When we are de-stressed, when we are comfortable, happy, naturally that ability to take care of others comes from the bottom of the heart, because now you have no business, you don't want anything, you're comfortable and happy. We have so much room and space in the heart that we can attend to others. As soon as we see someone needs something, they don't have to come and ask for our help. We will extend our hearts. That's called the unconditional love, kindness. Then that will go deeper. We call compassionate state, where you will spring into action. And like that, it will get deeper and deeper. Metta, karuna, mudita, upekka. So we can do this without wisdom also. Only by shifting the system in here, from the left brain to the right brain, and not shutting down the emotional system, and developing this selfless thought, activating the parasympathetic, which will give us great benefit. But Buddha says, so if someone wants to meditate on this, the Kamatahana is on the Karaniya Metta Sutra. We shouldn't be practicing this one and that one, whoever said this, that, and the other. We should go to what Buddha's words. Buddha's teaching, how to develop this metta, is on the Karaniya Metta Sutra. So Buddha says, Yecha dure vasanti avidure, from near to far, from where you are, taking this as a reference, from near to far, to the seen, to the unseen, to the born, to be born, the strong ones, weak ones, big ones, huge ones, small one, large one, anything and everything, without excluding anything, including all beings. We generate the wish, sabbe sattha bhavantu sukhitatta. Naparo paranniku peta nyati manyeda kachachinang kanchi. Vyarosana patika sanya nyanya manya sadukamichaya. May no one deceive another. May no one displease another. May no one not put down another. with anger or ill will. May no one think even to harm another. May no one be jealous about others' success. Sukhino va khemino hontu. Sabbe sattha bhavantu sukhitatta. May all beings be free from all kinds of suffering, physical, mental suffering, aging, sickness, death, all this samsaric mess. May they be free from this samsaric mess and find freedom from all kinds of suffering, the stress. May they live with the bliss of Nibbana. Sabbe sattha bhavantu sukhitatta. This is the teaching. Then Buddha says, so develop this from near to far, all around you, to the uddang adocha tiriyancha sambadang averang asapatta. To all around you, like if you're in a light bulb, you know how the sun doesn't pick and choose whether someone is helping the sun or not, whether someone likes the sun or not, whether it's the enemy who is trying to destroy. Now, when it shines unconditionally to all beings. The same way we have to shine this, we have to radiate this, we need to generate this feeling from the bottom of our heart to all beings, like that mother. That is the purest love we can take, for example. You can do it for your child. So in the meditation, I don't have to say, may my child be well and happy, because that's already there. That is selfishness. So we don't have to cultivate more. We need to see other children as my child too. Everyone as my child too. All beings. That is the hardest part. This is why this teaching is there, for us to develop that. But to kindle that feeling, you can bring up the closest one and get that feeling fired up here. How you relate to that person. Like the Buddha gave that example. If you're a father, you bring up that purest love, either to your dog or to the son or whatever, that purest innocent love. And then you expand it to, that is only a trick to flame this, to kindle this, to get that energy moving, that real caringness. Then with the same feeling, you radiate it to all beings. When you do that, at the end Buddha says, Dittincha anupagamma dassanenava. And if you do this with no sammak ditti, there will be reborn. You will be reborn. But if you come to the samyak drushti and you do this properly without that moda vidiyata sattva puddgala sanyawa aragena neme, you're doing this with understanding why you're doing this. This is because you want to be comfortable first, peaceful be first, happy first. In order to do this job, you can't have a stressful mind and have 100,000 thoughts running per 100,000 miles per hour to get enlightened. You need to have a calm mind first. So this is a trick to calm the mind. But you need to do this exercise with the proper ditti, samma ditti. So if you do it with the right way, with the samma ditti, nahi jatu gabba seyyam punaretiti. That will, if you do it with that proper understanding, you won't be born again. So you won't be born again into a womb. So this metta need to be practiced with samyak drushti. Then it will take you forward in the Arya Ashtangika Magga. One of the easiest vehicle to ride on, the metta. There's 11 vehicles. There's 11 ports you can get into this. Metta is one of them. But you have to come from the samyak drushti. You need to understand. Then you will know whether it's correct to do it for me and myself. You're already doing it from the morning to night. In the morning when you wake up, whose face do you go and look at? Whose teeth you brush? Whose problems you solve? You're already there. So no need to, develop more and more and more of it. It's always there. So this is about you shifting your that self-centered, self-grounded attention to all beings. Like this restricted, stressed, restricted feast, you're going to relax it and open it. And then your heart becomes broad enough. Your mind becomes broad enough from this narrow, self-centered I, me, myself, with all the boundaries, me and my family and my village and my country people. That is a narrow thing. That's why this is when you have this my borders, this is where we have the wars. My country people will go to war with the next door country people to protect my country people. My village people will go to war. I will go to war with the next door village to protect my village people. So as soon as you have this I, me, myself, it will only leads to conflict. So this is why we have to go beyond these boundaries. Sabbe sattha bhavantu sukhino. This is universal benevolence. Expanding the heart, broadening the heart from that narrow point of view, from that selfish, self-restricted place. If you do this properly, your parasympathetic will get activated, and then you will feel comfortable, peaceful, and happy. Instantly, it will make you a very genuine, good-hearted person, a selfless person. So you will be open to dana, sila, because sila is also the virtues that we practice. The ethics, morals is about you thinking of others and practicing it, because you don't want to give pain and suffering to them. You don't want to stress another being. So you control your behavior. Dana is you're always there to share what you have when there is a need there. That is also out of metta you do that. So if you really develop metta, we won't be paying money and funding this cruel meat and fish industry. It's not about eating fish and meat is wrong. You can eat anything and everything, but if you're paying money and supporting an industry where you're paying the wages of that people and you're helping them to buy more and more animals, more and more farming, to cut down more and more forests, to build more and more farms, and the cruelty that goes on with the animals, we will not do this. Buddha says it's wrong to directly kill someone, directly hurt someone, or indirectly do this. In Anguttara Nikaya, Buddha says there's 4 ways of you engaging in something. Either you plan and do it directly yourself, or you get someone else to go and do it for you, or you fund someone else who is doing it. You're not asking them to do it, but you're funding. By giving money and whatever they need, you're supporting and funding, and so we create this supply and the demand, and we support, and it keeps on going. The other way is you the word is not coming. You are talking good about these people who are doing
Appreciate
a bad.
them.
Huh?
Appreciate them.
You share and you do marketing for them. Oh, such and such one is doing this. Oh, it's so tasty, it's so good. You do the marketing for them so they can flourish. These 4 ways, Buddha says, you are engaging on something what others are doing. So either it's kusala or akusala. So Buddha is saying very clearly, don't kill, don't hurt other beings. And one of the 5 trades that Buddha had asked us not to do, the slavery, the second one is the fish and meat selling. Mas maansa veladama karanna epa kiyala kiyana. Eken salli hamba karanna epa. So instead of boycotting it and not paying a cent for that, we fund and we engage in it. Mas maansa veladama. How could you not be part of that veladama? When someone becomes a merchant, they only become a merchant if they have the Ganunkaru, the who is it buyer? So we shouldn't be doing that. If the Buddhists understand the consequences of hurting others, if you increase stress of others, increase the stress of these animals, their stress signals will stress the whole environment, and it will come back to human beings too. So today human beings don't know why they are so stressed. They are creating hell on earth here for other beings. And the minute we don't have that love and the care and the compassionate for the ant, the cockroach, the chicken, the cow, one day our hearts will get so insensitive to our own brothers and sisters. We will try to kill each other to go and eat, because we have given into the tongue to the taste. It's for the taste we go and eat. But we don't care about that little being's welfare and well-being. We're just happy to eat it because we like it. So one day, if by accident, if people eat human flesh, they will not be able to settle to a lesser flesh, because apparently the tastiest flesh is human flesh. So now in some countries in the world, Papua New Guinea and Indonesia, where every day in every country people go missing, never to be found. You go to your local police station and ask how many missing today. Amazing, you will find out how many are gone missing. Some of them they are finding now in the fridges. This is where we will end up. We will have terror. First, little children won't be able to travel in the dark. Then the ladies won't be able to travel in the dark. Then even in the daylight, things will happen. So we are coming to that. If we just give in to the desire, just to the blind tongue, this is where we will end up. So that's why it's very important to understand properly this metta. So you tell me a Buddhist who don't do metta. They go to the temple on the Poya day and go, Sielu Satya Supatteva Supatteva. Karaniya Metta Sutra, every day they will chant from morning to night, night to morning. In the radio, they will do it. But they go and give the money and go and buy. They don't understand. Where is the caringness? It has not been practiced. It's only about I, me, and myself. You know, one of the boys who came here, they're into heavy eat meeting. You know, when someone starts eating meat, they can't eat anything without meat. So the parents were complaining, and I said, Putta, why you are doing this? Paune sattu. No, they are there for us to eat. I said, that's what the Bible says. They are not there for us to eat. That's what these people interpreted. God is all compassionate, almighty, all compassionate. So how could a compassionate God create the animals for someone else to kill and eat, for us to kill and eat? No, they are just living there. They, whatever they naturally that happens, it happens. Why should we farm and do this? And he has a cat. So I asked, would you like the next door neighbor taking the cat and cat sitting in his soup for the tomorrow dinner? No. I said, why not? No, that's my cat. So I said, that's exactly. We care for my cat. I don't care for the stray cat or the cat in the farm. I care for my chicken. I care for my cow. I don't like killing my cat or the dog or the cow if I have a chicken in the backyard, but I don't care about others. So this is how insensitive we are. This is the insensitivity. This is not having that loving kindness, only chanting. So this needs to be practiced. When you practice, we really can't pay money for this cruel industry. Not even because Buddha said not to do that. We understand. My life is so valuable to me. My child's life is so valuable to me. My dog's good welfare, well-being is so valuable. When it cries, we take it and run to the vet. We can't wait. We cry. How come I'm so insensitive to this chicken, to this innocent cow? Why are we not farming lions? Go and kill the lions. No, we don't do that. We know the lion will kill us before we go near it. We go for these innocent animals. This is abusing the power the human being has. Going for these innocent beings. This is how the animal realm works. The one who have the power preys on the innocent ones, the weaker ones. Instead of helping the weaker ones to rise, you use them for your welfare and well-being. That is what's happening in the animal realm, because they are dominated with emotions, not with goodness and wisdom. They don't know even the consequences. So they live with stress the whole life. There is no system to take care of people when they get old. The mother and the father gets old, the son will kill and eat. When they get sick, no one to nurse them. They will kill them and eat. So how much stress is that? Do we want that in our society? No. We have created a society with appreciating the loving kindness. So when there is a weak person, we think the sick ones, we should attend to them. So we have nurses to attend to them. When someone is old, we look after them. We don't kill them and eat. We don't stress them. We look after them. So we can live a stress-free life. But if we start losing this loving kindness, this unconditional loving kindness to all beings, we will lose it to our own neighbor, to our own brother and sister, our own mother and father, our own child. And we will create havoc in here like living in the animal realm. And this is what's happening today. So we need to develop this genuine loving kindness, not saying I'm developing metta, but I pay the money and go and buy these things. No, that is hypocrisy. So you need to understand what is loving kindness. It's not an easy thing to practice. If it comes from the bottom of the heart, if it's genuine loving kindness, it will show it in your action, that your caringness, concern comes. So there won't be any slavery. No one have to tell you. You will not practice in slavery. You will not practice in this selling fish and meat and all that. You will not be part of that cruel chain. You will not be part of buying the weapons and all this. You will not be part of selling drugs and all this, liquor and drugs and all that. You will not give parties and give to people. You will not go and buy them. You will not entertain poison. So all these 5 traits, if you engage them and you create demand and you go and pay the money for them to excel, to be successful, you're doing a lot of damage to yourself, to others, and to the environment, and to other beings, and to everyone, destroying the whole planet and the life. You look deeply why Buddha said these 5 traits should not be practiced. When you don't have unconditional loving kindness, we thrive on this. We can sell poison and earn money. We can sell drugs and earn money. It's so easy. We can sell weapons and earn money. We can sell this fish and meat and earn money. You go and kill a chicken. Chicken is not going to come and kill you. He don't have that weapon. He don't have a gun to shoot you. If he had, he would have. If he had qualities like the lion, it would have jumped to you before you kill them. They can't. They're so innocent. They don't have a voice. Even though they don't like to get killed, they will run and run and run. In the farm, you can't even run. So we just prey on them. We just do this so wrong thing. So it's so easy to catch these innocent beings and you sell them and you get rich overnight. But Buddha says this is adharmishta salli. So masmans, if you get someone to go and do this for you and you bring it, it's called adharmishta masmans. It is not to be consumed. It's not good. If an animal comes and jumps to you or to that abdua and says, oh, my life is useless, I'm an animal, you are a great human being, you're developing a lot of good qualities and human being, I'm going to sacrifice my life, here it is, go and have it. Then you can have it, because you're not stealing it. So we need to develop true loving kindness with understanding. Then we will become so loving, kind, compassionate, and you will start to treat all beings the same way you treat your son and your daughter. How you treat your wife, how you treat your husband, how you treat your mother, how you treat your father. You will treat all beings. You don't treat your mother or father, try to kill them and bring them to the table, no matter how much you crave for the fish or the meat. We don't do that. We don't do it to our child. Then we shouldn't be doing it to the others. We should not allow others to do it either. If you can't stop it, then we shouldn't be part of that, at least. So today the Westerners are understanding this. They are going more and more vegan, more and more vegetarian. But we Buddhists, becoming more and more people going and becoming non-veg, saying, eකට පව් නෑ කියලා. Anyway, so when you develop metta, there will be a transformation. The way you think will change. And your conscience will change. You will start to have a more pure heart. Very pure heart. With that purity in the heart, you start to feel so light, so guilt-free. You know that you're giving freedom to life. You're giving abhedhana dero. You don't prey on others, weak ones. That gives you so much enormous joy, happiness, to think how you care for others. This is metta. So it's a good place to start metta, developing the metta by first stopping, paying and buying the fish and the meat. I'm not saying not to eat. Eating fish and meat is a different story. That's okay. That's a different thing. But you should not go and buy it and come and eat. No good. You're supporting that cruel industry. So we should disengage. So today the Westerners are understanding more and more and more how cruel this farm industry is about. So they are going not only vegetarian, they are going vegan. So we should be more, advanced and practice this. So it can benefit us. When you practice metta in the proper way, genuinely, wow, you will feel it. You feel so comfortable. Your body relaxes. You're so happy. You stop putting a lot of toxins into your body. This is like a mala sohana. Now it becomes very pure. You have pure energy from the plants. It's pure energy, direct energy from the sun, pure. So you have the direct energy from the sun, you become very energetic. You don't need tea and the coffee and the cigarette and the alcohol and the drugs to work. You feel very refreshed, very fresh. You have energy bubbling up to go and work. More you eat this fish, meat, things that are hard to digest, and also when they're getting killed, they get terrorized. So there's a lot of adrenaline that goes into the body. And we eat them because the blood goes into the muscles, and you're eating the muscles as the meat. So you're eating a lot of adrenaline. Adrenaline is very poisonous. අපි ඒකයි සිංහලෙන් කියන්නේ හරක් මස් සැරයි, කකුළු මස් සැරයි, ඊස්සෝ සැරයි, බල මාළු සැරයි. ඒ සැරයි කියලා කියන්නේ too much toxicity in them. So when you eat this fish and meat, on the spot karma pala vipaka, your body gets acidic.
Excuse me, very much, man. Cat doesn't speak Sinhalese, I think.
Okay. All right, sorry. So, but I hope mainly I mentioned more in the English words. Ne? Thank you for pointing that out.
Sorry, I'm back. I got disconnected.
Okay.
Yes, Venerable. Ranjit got disconnected just when you were explaining the technique of metta, like when you were explaining, and then he came back when you started talking about meat.
Yeah, anyway, I'm a vegetarian, so it doesn't matter.
Which is very good, but it needs to be done with that metta. I was saying, you can go and listen to the recording. I was showing the connection between when you have this genuine metta, genuine concern for welfare and well-being for all beings. We can't do that because we see the suffering, we resonate, we genuinely wish them to be well and happy, to be safe.
Well, long ago, I saw a video of how animals were suffering when they were taken to the abattoir. And people see that, they just go and buy the meat, the fish, and eat it.
Yeah,
I'm sure if they see that, and recently I went to Central Victoria in a bus, and when we were coming back, a truck passed by saying beef. There were cattle inside there. And when you look into their eyes, you can see the fear, the horror in their eyes.
Yeah, Yes.
And they knew that they were going to be slaughtered.
Of
Yeah.
course.
Yeah.
Of course.
I mean, they get the sense.
So I was saying we should, when we develop metta, you know, the proper way to give it up is by thinking of others and not want to increase their stress and not want to bring them down.
Yeah.
And if someone still can't have, at least, you know, with that pure genuineness, at least they should think when they eat this on the spot karma phala vipaka is you get sick. It's not good for you. That cholesterol doesn't digest. So our heart starts to get problems. We will get more cancer. The non-veg's are more prone to bowel cancer and all that. So at least we should think for our benefit and stop it, and then, you know, slowly we can develop it into the right direction. But anyway, what I was explaining, I hope you can listen to the record. The connection between that, when someone has loving kindness, this is how the heart expands, and you start to resonate. Even the trees, they talk. The planet, they talks. The river talks. The ant talks. And you start to become part of them, you know, whole world, whole universe. There's no difference between you and them. So everything will resonate in this harmony. So your happiness is their happiness. Their happiness is your happiness. So it will go together. That is the metta. What the metta does will help you to live peacefully and happily as long as you have that genuine feeling in the heart. Yeah?
Okay, good. Thank you.
So hope you have, you know, you can listen to the recording, because I think you have missed a big chunk there in the middle. Few minutes? Kanishka? He was not there?
No, he wasn't there for maybe 15 minutes or 20 minutes like that.
So it's a big chunk. So please send him the record so he can listen to it. But you were there when I was explaining the method and all that? Did you understand? Okay. Does someone else has any question?
Kat, do you have any questions, Kat?
No, thank you. But I think all of the videos, so this is a second session that I attend. Thank you so much, the Venerable. I think all the videos, the first one and the second one, I think the information there is really, really helpful. Yeah, obviously there's a lot of things like terms that I may not understand. But I guess I get the gist of, you know, what the videos and what you want to convey through the talk.
I forgot that you were there. I go back to my native language.
No, that's yeah, I guess it's just going to develop over time, I guess. Yeah.
Next time I'll be careful.
Thank you. And yeah, it definitely makes me more aware, I guess, in terms of, you know, how different things work and how the practices work and the meaning behind that. And the practice of love and kindness and the reason that come with it. So I think that I really appreciate it. I don't really have a lot of questions. It's just me. Yeah, I'm not the type of person who always come up with questions. So.
Okay. So the chaos that we are going through today is a direct result of not having that unconditional loving kindness. We are so selfish. So if we want to change this, we need to change our attitudes. We need to change that, and we need to develop unconditional loving kindness and include everyone. See this ecosystem, and we need to see it in balance, that we all are the same. So we need to start to care and share. Then the stress levels will go down.
Yeah, I totally agree. just another thing, I think, women and children, I guess we are more, I guess it's a little bit easier to practice love and kindness. And I don't know, like the way that I was brought up, and then I just feel that sometimes, in some kind of society, those people are easiest to be preyed on. So eventually they developed mechanism to protect themselves, which means that they stop giving out love and kindness to other people, just as a shelf to protect themselves.
Defense walls, they build walls.
Yes. So not sure. I guess it's the process. I guess like growing up and then develop those walls and then try to learn more and develop oneself, and now we have to take off those walls. So it's a hard process, I guess.
You can keep the wall because you didn't build the wall consciously. When you practice this, the wall that you build unconsciously will fade away. It will crumble.
Yeah, I think from my personal experience, yeah, I guess just it's I guess it's a shift from unconscious to consciously practice.
That's right. Yep.
Yeah. Thank you.
Welcome. Does anyone else have any question?
Stefan, are you there? He's there. Do you have any questions, Stefan? You're muted, by the way, Stefan. You have to unmute yourself. Now you're okay. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I hurt my back. That was why I was lying down.
That's right.
Yes.
May you find a speedy recovery.
Thank you.
May you be comfortable.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, what did you do for the back?
Oh, it's been a long time sports injury. Yes. Yeah. And thank you for talking about the animals. That was very, very thought-provoking. Thank you.
Okay. So,
do you have any questions for the Venerable Stefan other than that?
No, I did find that last the talk. I mean, these are things we know, but when it's spoken about, I think we don't consciously think about it. We try not to think about it, or habit makes us not think about it. But to be told again is a very it's a very good reminder.
Venerable, I got a question as well.
yeah, go ahead.
From the Venerable Bhanteji's Punnaji's talk, he when he used the term Sanvara, there are terms like Sindina, like to cut off, Sansara, etc. But when they say Vara, what does that word mean? Vara or Vara, Sanvara. I mean the Vara part. What does that mean?
Guarding the senses, shedding the bad, and guarding it from that, purifying. Varano.
Like Mura. Mura.
No, not mura. Sansidona means relaxing. And all the time you can't break these words.
Oh, I
Sansidona
see.
means relax, you know. What was the other one you said?
Sansara.
Yeah, Sansara is never ending. Traveling. Sarisarano. Sarisarano කියන්නේ යනවා වරණෝ මේ යනවා රවුම යනවා කියන්නේ never ending නේ. Just an endless journey. Sansara.
Right. Thanks, Venerable.
All right, so let's share the merits. So whatever the positive energy that we develop today, let's share it with the departed relatives and friends, and also with the devas and with all beings. May they all be able to access these merits and find peace and happiness in wherever they are. If they are in a bad realm, may these merits help them to elevate themselves into a better existence. And may the happiness increase for the devas, and for long period of time they'll be able to experience that happiness, and one fine day may they and all beings be able to find freedom from all kinds of suffering. Today would like to especially share the merits with Kanishkaputta for organizing this and for doing this program, and also for everyone who participated today. May all of you and your parents, your teachers, your family members, your siblings, your children, your grandchildren, partners, may everyone find comfort, peace of mind and happiness. May all of you find peace of good health and long life. May all of you find success in all the good endeavors. And may all your good aspirations come true. And then may these merits bring causes and conditions for us to not to find the association with the bad and the wicked, foolish and the wicked, but to find only the good company with the good and the wise until we attain Nibbana. Also, let's wish that may all the merits that we generated today bring causes and conditions for us to experience the bliss of Nibbana and live a stress-free life in this very life. May all of you be well, comfortable, peaceful and happy. Sukhi hotu. Theruvan saranai. May you all be well and happy. Theruvan saranai. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Sadhu, sadhu.
Thank you. Thanks.
Theruvan saranai. Take care.
Take care.
Good
Venerable.
night.
Okay.
Goodbye, Venerable.
Take
Bye,
care.
everyone.
Take care.